بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته and welcome to Ummah Radio. You are listening to the live Islamic question and answers with myself Ubaidullah Ibrahim or Abu Mus'ab, whichever name you happen to know me by. So if you are new to this and you don't know how it works, it is done by people sending in their questions and it gets answered like this over the radio. You have the option of sending in your question via Skype, the Skype name being Ummah Radio, all in one. The alternative is to post on Ummah Forum, which is www.ummah.com/forum. You'll go to the Ummah Radio subsection and in there you will find a thread called Pre-Ramadan Question and Answers Program, Thursday 11th of April 2019, and that is the thread which is related to tonight's Q&A, inshallah ta'ala. Now we actually do have quite a number of questions which have been posed, so bi'idhnillahi ta'ala we'll be able to go through all of them. And for those who happen to have my WhatsApp number, then on occasion I also do accept questions on WhatsApp as well. So that's your options that are open. But like I say, since we've got a number of questions as it is, let us begin without further delay. Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. So we have our first question, and the questioner says that for the benefit of others, can you tell us what is the ruling on promoting or taking part in vigils and explain how it can even be kufr, since all sorts of craziness happening after the New Zealand killing of Muslims? Also, how are we supposed to respond, as I've seen a few apologetic ones, hardly any mention al-wala'u wal-bara. Okay. Now this question over here is a good question from the questioner, and it is something which unfortunately, as people drift further away from the deen, the more they end up going this way. To begin with, what is a vigil? Before we take a step anywhere, the people are calling towards having vigils and things like this. So you ask the question, what is a vigil? What is this word? Where does it stem from? What are the connotations of it? What's it related to? And you will find that a vigil is something which stems from Christianity. No other religion, it stems from Christianity. It's the equivalent of saying you are having mass, or you are having some Last Supper or let's say Last Supper festival, or some Christmas festival, or some whichever different type of Christian festival that there is out there. It's following along that route. Like you have the other line of going down the way of paganism, Halloween and all those sort of stuff. So a vigil by its very nature is something which is steeped in Christianity. It is, in Christian terminology, it is the eve to, let's say for example, they would keep a vigil prior to Christmas, for example, which is what? Christmas Eve, the eve before the day of Christmas, and all these sorts of things. That is where the origin of what a vigil is about. So they spend the night in a state of wakefulness. Vigil from the word vigilia, which is to be in a state of wakefulness. That's where it comes from. Now today, because people have begun to grovel so for the kuffar that they want to bring the kuffar into the masjid and they want to go into the church. So they do all these sort of things here and think that it encourages what they call nowadays humanitarian relationships and stuff of the sort. But Islam is more than just a set of beliefs or a set of practices. It is an entire way of life, and Islam has given us everything which is perfect and told us how it is that we mourn, how it is that we deal with people, how it is that we deal with Muslims, and how we deal with kuffar. And there is no place for stuff like vigils in Islam. So people, and nowadays, like I said, you have the ulama usu, those people whose heads will pave the way to Jahannam, who bear the title of Maulana or Sheikh or Mufti or whoever he may call himself. He can be a jelly bean for all it counts as far as the deen is concerned. His words, his actions count for absolutely nothing in the Sharia, because it is contrary to the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So as Muslims, we do not take part in vigils. We do not the ulama have explained it. Why is it that you cannot attend a funeral of a Christian family relative in the church? Why can you not attend a marriage of a Christian in a church? Because they are committing shirk in their church. They are calling on Jesus, and you are now standing there like some big, don't want to say, but you're sitting there like some big oaf, and you are supposedly calling on Allah and he's calling on Jesus. You're sitting next to one another, next to each other, and he's committing shirk and you are supposedly worshipping Allah. And you think this is something that's supposed to bring you closer to Allah? So when you have this vigil, obviously, Vigil is a night of prayer. It's and that's what people do. They come to offer their praise. Now, here you come along with your long dress on, and you stand there, and the Christian comes next to you. So they call, oh, Jesus, be safe in the arms of God in heaven, and stuff like this here. And you say, oh, Allah, forgive him. Like, what are you doing? Where is your Islam? Yes, we appreciate, for example, if a Christian comes now and he say, I'm sorry to have heard what had happened and stuff. We don't fault them for that, because they don't know Islam. They don't know the laws of Islam. So they are doing what they think in their minds is good. But that does not mean that we must throw our deen out of the window to accommodate everything. Or at least I should say, people have thrown their deen out of the window to follow them in that, not just accommodating what it is that they are doing. So as for us as Muslims, how do we respond to things of this nature? Number one, we do not take part in any of these vigils. And for years, and still as it is now, around many parts of the world, most Muslims do not take part in it. Never do you find people being attacked. Why don't you take part in the vigil? Even the kuffar won't put that on you. But these people so have fallen prey to shaitan that they want to make it seem as though if you don't take part in the vigil, if you don't show your face there as a groveler, then people will look at you, the kuffar will look at you badly. This is when you have lost your belief in Allah and you believe that the world is controlled by the kafir. So as long as you please the kafir, it's all well and good. But if you just please Allah in the process, it's just one of those things. So as Muslims, we do not take part in vigils. We do what Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam have commanded us. And in any case, at the time when this attack had taken place in New Zealand, yes, 50 people had lost their lives, and it is a calamity regardless of which way a person looks at it. But at the same time, on the other side of the world, if you take in Mali, and about 149 or 100 and something Muslims were killed over there. In Syria, a couple of hundred were killed with white phosphorus and stuff like this by the Dual al-Kufr. You can look in Afghanistan, you can look in Iraq, you can look in Kashmir, but the Hindus. You can look in China, the Uyghurs under the Chinese. In all these places, Muslims were being killed, and every one of these people were groveling so and crying, hashtag hello brother, and all things of the sort. No one breathed a word about any of those Muslims' lives which were lost. You have this Imran Khan, president of Pakistan, and the way all of these so-called leaders are of the world, and when he's the question is put forth to him in an interview, he falls over himself with regards to the Uyghur Muslims, and he's like, I don't know nothing about it. If I knew something, I would have committed, but I know nothing. That's your excuse. Nearly a million Muslims are in concentration camps, and the amount of oppression going on there, but I don't know nothing about it. That's your argument. That's your excuse. So really, this is more a publicity stunt. It's more a thing for name and fame than it is of consideration for human life, for Muslim life, or for anything else. It stems from this nafs and shaitan. That's all that it is at the end of the day. So in conclusion, as Muslims, we do not take part in things which are foreign to Islam. We do what Allah has commanded us, and Allah, who is the controller of this world and everything it contains, is the one who will protect and guide us in everything that we do. But if we turn to ways other than that of Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then Allah will put you at the mercy of every kafir and every deviant and every evil person, and then you will try, and then you can see if you can fend for yourself when Allah is not on your side. And Allah knows best. Next question, that there was a petition about parents' right to withdraw their children from the sodomite relationship lessons which are going to be taking place in schools, and now you have some perverted MPs and the LBGT brigade to try and make it compulsory to have these type of education and lessons. So what should the Muslims do, and what options do they have if it is made mandatory in schools? Okay. When it comes to questions of this nature or any other sort of things like this, we come down to the point that freedom of religion. If there is no freedom to practice Islam, then it is not possible for you to stay there. it goes across the board, whether it's in the UK, whether it's in South Africa, whether it's in America, whether it's in Saudi Arabia, regardless of where it is in the world. If there is no freedom to practice Islam, then hijrah is a necessity. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had to make hijrah from Makkah to Mukarramah by the Kaaba and everything, and go to Medina because there was no freedom for the Muslims to practice their Islam. And at that time, jihad was not established, so they could not fight the mushrikeen in Mecca, and Allah had given the command, move now to Medina. After that, then there was now the jihad and the conquest of Mecca, and la hijrata ba'd al-fath, and so everybody came back to Mecca as it was. But the thing is, as long as there is something which is standing as an impediment in your way, then it is not permissible for you to remain there. It don't matter if you say, I was born in the year, I'm a citizen of this country, then you must become a citizen of another country. Because, let us put it practically and factually, if the country falls into a civil war, if the country becomes bankrupt and people have to start begging on the street, nobody's going to say, no, I am a resident of this country, I was born here, I'm going to stay here and struggle till the day I die. That's why you have people, and they pack up, and the husband or the father will go off to another country and work there and send money back home and things, but they'll move elsewhere to try and find a better future for themselves when it comes to matters of this dunya. So how much more isn't it important for us to take this sort of importance and apply to our deen? So when our deen is threatened, when that few pennies in your pocket is threatened, you are willing to leave everything and go elsewhere. By hook or by crook, you will make certain you have money to see to your needs. So why is it that we can't put importance on our deen, so that when it comes to things of this nature, there is no negotiation on matters of haram and kufr of this sort. So if you are being forced into it, then you must take your children out of the school. If it means that you are not allowed to live in the UK, if your children aren't going to these schools and taking these type of gay lessons, then you have to move. In fact, many people happen to come from other parts of the world, be it from India or Pakistan, from Dubai or from Saudi, whether they're from South Africa or wherever. Then you move to another part of the world where you have freedom of your religion, because you cannot sacrifice your deen just to live in a first world country, to put it that way. And Allah knows best. Okay, next question. The question says, how does a Muslim stay motivated to wake up every day and keep going without feeling bored or adding too much onto their free time? This is something which every day, day after day, life in this world may seem fast, life in this world may seem very short at the same time. When you are having fun, time goes very fast. And when you are bored, time tends to go very slow. So depending on what point it is in your life, you'll be saying life has been too short. And at other times, it'll be like, it's every day. Every day I have to make salah 5 times a day. Every day, every year I have to fast 30 days in Ramadan. Because now shaitan has driven you to the point where you find these things to be boring, so it seems long. To stand in salah, in Taraweeh salah during Ramadan, it seems long. I mean, it's an hour and a half long. But when you are watching the latest movie, new movie releasing, maybe it's even releasing in Ramadan, and you go into the cinema to go and watch it over there, and it's playing for 1 hour and 57 minutes, you'll still stay till the credits are over and the extra trailers take place, and it goes for 2 hours and 15 minutes. And it's not a problem. Then it's still, at the end of the day, you feel they could have made that movie a little bit longer. They shrunk the story too much in it, and you have no problem. When a soccer game is going on and 80 minutes has gone by, then it's like, hey, they could have gone into extra time. They needed a little bit more time. If they had more time, they could have made an extra goal. And that's how people are for other stuff. But take that same amount of time and put it into deen, and it becomes like the end of the world too long. So these things are from shaitan. Shaitan drives you towards feeling bored, feeling tired when you are doing matters of deen, be it reciting the Quran or performing of salah or fasting or this or that. Shaitan is there to hinder your path so that you do not go forward. So when you happen to be in a situation like that, all you do is you keep on going. You work on 1 foot at a time, 1 foot in front of the next. You take 1 day at a time, 1 salah at a time, 1 ayah of the Quran at a time, and you just keep on going forward and ignore the whisperings of shaitan who is trying to tell you, Even if you are feeling bored, perform your salah. Even if you are feeling hungry, continue with your fast. Even if you are feeling lazy, do the commands which Allah has given to you. Because at the end of the day, maybe later on in life, a couple of years down the line, something happens and you have a change of heart and your life turns around, your iman increases, and now you are looking, I've got years of salah which I missed out. I gotta make qada of it all. I've got years of fasts which I missed out. I have to repeat all of those fasts. Now it becomes problematic for you later on in life. You've got 120 days worth of Ramadan fasts to keep. It's a lot of fasting. You've got 7 years of salah which was not performed because you were lazy. So you've got 7 years times 5 or times 6 if you add the witr at night in, that is obligatory upon you to repeat. Then you said for a couple of years to repeat that, which if you were steadfast at the time when those salahs were fard on you, you would not be in that situation today. So motivation, and yes, iman goes up and iman goes down, and there are times when you'll go to a masjid or you'll listen to a lecture or you'll hear an ayah of the Quran or some recitation or something, and your iman will rise and skyrocket. And there are other times when you will feel like lead crawling there on the floor. That is normal, that is natural, that is the way that this world has been created. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told us that this is how life is. So you take it as it comes and you just keep on going forward, regardless of whether you are feeling lazy. If you are tired, if you are lazy, you don't feel like it's Isha time now, I just want to lie down and go and sleep. But it's going to take you 15 minutes to perform your Isha salah. Take the time, make your Isha, go and sleep. You'll sleep better, because now you can sleep safely up until Fajr for the next morning. You don't have to worry, I must jump up early because I didn't perform my Isha Salah. So you do things even if you are lazy, and you keep on making dua, then may Allah guide you to turn away from this laziness and to guide you to love what it is that you are doing. And bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, a time will come when you will look forward to making that salah rather than seeing it as a burden that is upon you. And Allah knows best. Okay, next question. The questioner says that, does touching one's breast and underarms break wudu? Simple terms, no. It does not affect your wudu at all. The touching of any parts, okay, as far as the Hanafi madhab is concerned, any part of the body that you touch, it does not affect your wudu, whether it's your private or some other person's private, let me put it this way, your spouse's private parts, anything you touch, it does not affect your wudu. We're talking now touching with the hand. So for the Shafi'i madhab, and I think maybe the Hanbali madhab, if you touch your private part, your wudu breaks. So that is from another madhab perspective. But as far as the Hanafi madhab is concerned, anything you touch does not affect your wudu. But according to all four madhahib, if you touch your underarms and your breasts, it will not affect your wudu at all. And Allah knows best. Next question. Are we to pray in the direction that the majority of people pray if that's opposite to the Qibla direction shown on a compass? Okay. A compass can be correct and the people can be correct. A compass can be wrong and the people can also be wrong. So what is important to note is that who is right and who is wrong. In the event of it's rather simple. You take the people who are making salah in a particular direction. You say, I have my compass. According to my compass, it says that this direction is wrong. Why is it that you are making in this direction? Normal conversation, normal communication is key. And you can resolve all of your problems like that. You don't sit and live in a cocoon and then I'll do things my way, and all the time my app is insane and I'm facing in the total opposite direction. You don't do things of that sort. So you'll go and you ask the people, my app says it should be this direction, but you are pointing in that direction. Why is that? Then they say, look, here's my compass, I put it down and it shows in this direction here. There's some problem with your phone, your GPS is maybe not configured right, that's why it's facing you in the opposite direction. And in any case, there are certain times of the year when the sun happens to be directly overhead in line with yourself to the Kaaba, so you will know that, say for example, maybe the 18th of April 2019 at 11:52 a.m. the sun will be directly overhead and the shadow will point towards the Qibla. So you go outside and you stand and you see where your shadow faces, and you know the direction that it's going is towards the Qibla. So then you see who is correct, your compass or the people. But anyway, that's something that comes now and then. It's not an everyday thing, so you can't really rely on it as an immediate alternate. So you go to the people and you say, my compass is saying this, you are doing this, which one is right? Then they will see now why it is that, oh, we just happen to have been doing so. We thought originally it should be in this way, so we were making like this. Then they check with another compass and say, no, you're right, your compass is correct and we were wrong. Then they turn to how you are facing. So that is how you ascertain which one is correct and which one is wrong. It does not mean that because your compass says that your compass is right, nor does it mean that just because the people are facing that way that it is definitely right. You make certain, 100% certain, then you know whether you are right or they are right. And Allah knows best. Okay, next question. Can women wear skinny pants with hijab? How much is she to cover when at home and when out in public? Okay, with regards to whether you're talking about leggings or jeggings or skinny jeans or whichever other name you want to call it, leotards or anything you want to call it, none of these things are permissible for a woman except if she's in the confines of her bedroom with her husband. This is about the only time it will ever be permissible for her to wear such a thing. We're not talking about now where from the point of whether it's suitable to wear or not. We're talking about simply permissibility will only ever be in a situation such as that where she's away from the eyes of anyone, even her maharim. Some women have this mistaken concept that if my parents say it's fine, I can wear what I want to wear. There is no such thing like that in Islam. Allah is the lawgiver, Allah is the lawmaker, not your parents or the next man or anybody else. It don't matter if your father is Malvi so and so or your mother is Appa so and so. It counts for nothing as far as the deen is concerned. You have awrah in front of the general masses, the غير maharim, the strangers out there, and then you have awrah to your maharim, and then between yourself and your husband, there is no such thing as awrah per se. So because the husband can see the entire body of his wife, and the wife can see the entire body of the husband. But the same does not apply to your family, your brothers, your uncles, your parents. It don't apply like that. They may be maharim, so they can see your hair in the case of a woman, but that does not mean you can wear shorts in front of them, or you can wear skinny jeans in front of them. That is absolutely haram. To wear skinny pants, the skinny jeans, the leggings, these things of this sort here, it is as haram as wearing let's say, for example, it's as haram as wearing the mini skirt in public, and wearing the skinny pants in front of your family is exactly the same in terms of sin. So if you are roaming the street with a micro mini skirt over there with your Daisy Dukes on, it's the same sin as walking around at home wearing tight jeans. Your skinny jeans at home, or that jeans which are, and you have these ones today with the ripped jeans because it's fashion, so it's ripped over the thighs, over a couple of ribs. That is as haram to wear in front of your brother, your father, your mother, as it is to walk around in the street wearing those Daisy Dukes. That is how serious the severity and prohibition it is to wear that at home even. So the only thing is, because your husband can see you without any thing on, therefore if you were to wear such clothing, it would be permissible in front of him. Other than that, there is absolutely no permissibility whatsoever in any way or form for a woman to wear such clothing. Okay, so that's with regards to wearing such things. So when the question is, how much is she to cover when at home and when out in public? So I made mention now that you have the awrah in front of the public, and you have the awrah in front of your family members. So awrah in front of the public is everything, basically the entire body, except, for example, now a woman's hands. It's good if she happen to wear gloves, but if she doesn't wear gloves, that is excluded. When it comes to wearing the veil, now people tend to get mistaken and they lose track of the reality over here when they focus on the wrong thing by asking the wrong question when they ask is the face awra or not, when that is not the question to be asked at all. When people ask the question is the face awra or not, that's how they end up being on the wrong side of the fence, and they think that no, a woman does not have to wear the veil. The ulama have explained that it is wajib. In other words, it's obligatory for a woman to wear the veil when she's out, regardless of the fact of the argument whether the face is awra or not. It's got absolutely no bearing on a woman being required to wear the veil outside. So you have and if you want to read more on this topic, you can go to my blog, which is darulilm.wordpress.com. You can search there for the word niqab, which you'll find an article which is titled The Obligation of the Niqab in the Hanafi Madhab, and it will give you the dalil, all the proofs regarding why a woman is required to wear the veil outside. And this is the same for the Shafi'i Madhab as well. You have certain people who ascribe themselves to the Shafi'i Madhab, who are far removed from the Madhab of Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, who try and make it seem as though the Shafi'i Madhab say a woman can walk around without a veil, but there is no such proof in the Shafi'i Madhab, or nor is there even such a statement made in the Shafi'i Madhab whatsoever as people try to make it seem. There is absolutely no basis for it whatsoever. So when a woman is coming back to the question, which is when a woman is at home amongst her father, her brother, her maharim, not her cousins or her cousin brothers, as they tend to call them like this. They are ghair maharim, they are strangers to you. You may not expose anything in front of them. They are like the man who cut the grass and the man who sweeps the street out there. As strangers as they are to you, so is that cousin to you as well. So when it comes to covering yourself in front of family members, your father, your brother, your uncle, stuff like this here, your father-in-law, then you are permitted to, if a woman now is happen to be wearing, let's say for example, a t-shirt, or let's not use clothing which are tight. Let's say for example her arms are exposed, or her hair is exposed and stuff of the sort here, then it is permissible, because her arms, her hair, her shins is not awra in front of her maharim. Yes, there is a difference between something being awra and there is a difference between something being from your natural shyness. You know, you don't take a girl who has natural shyness. She's not going to come at home and start walking around here with shorts on at home and a tight t-shirt and short. Then it is that you actually don't have any shyness, and the jilbab or abaya that you are wearing is more for show than for the purpose of hijab. So when people have shyness, then they are shy to expose any part of their body that is unnecessary to show. So yes, she's working, let's say in the kitchen, so she's got short sleeves on, or her sleeves are rolled up, because the sleeves are going to hanging the food else, otherwise stuff with the sort, normal natural things. But she's not going to be walking around here wearing a vest, what they call it now, a wife beater at home and things of the sort. So there is what should be worn, and then there is what is permissible to wear. There is what is permissible to wear is to expose these parts of the body. What should be worn is that there should still be decency and dignity, that, you know, we're talking about people whose nature is on the right path. You know, some people are sick, some people are perverted, so they don't see right from wrong. So it's like, what's the big deal? It can be, if she wants to wear shorts also, it's okay, I don't mind. But that don't matter in the Sharia. We're talking about what the Sharia and what a normal, upright, sane person of good character feels as being modest and immodest. We're talking about those type of people, not the people who don't know and everything it's all just fine. So yes, outside in public, everything must be covered. Inside, amongst your family, it is permissible for you to expose your hair and your arms and things like that. And Allah knows best. Okay, next question over here. The questioner says that, can women make wudu during menstruation, such as when showering or before going to bed? Okay, with regards to this here, the ulama have made mention that there is no problem if a woman makes wudu in a state of menstruation. Obviously, it's not going to remove her from the state of menstruation. Even if she made a ghusl, it's not going to remove her from the state of menstruation. So she will still be in an impure state throughout this whole time. However, the ulama have explained that yes, it is permissible for her to do it, and they say that the benefit, for example, of her making a wudu during if she happens to be taking a ghusl or things of the sort, is that the benefit of the wudu would still help her from the aspect that if you make wudu, it protects you from shaitan, for example. So if a woman in menstruation happens to make wudu, she will still get that perk. So she will still be protected from shaitan as a result of her having made wudu, despite the fact that this wudu has no effect in practicality, that she cannot touch the Quran, she cannot perform salah, she cannot do anything of that sort, but the spiritual perks will still be there. So she will still maybe, for example, she'll receive the reward, be protected from shaitan, her sins will fall off, and things of that nature. So the spiritual perks are there, but the physical ones will not be there, and Allah knows best. Okay, next question is, what should the parents do if their son doesn't want to pray? He's 28 and still living with them. And if you miss your salah unintentionally, does that break your fasting? Okay, firstly, with regards to the question that if you miss your salah, does it break your fast? Whether you miss your salah intentionally or unintentionally, it does not affect your fast in any way whatsoever. They are two totally separate ibadat. One is fasting, one is salah. They are not linked to one another. So therefore, if you don't fast, you still are required to perform your salah. If you don't perform your salah, you are still required to fast. They are two separate from one another, and each obligatory in its own individual right. And not doing one does not break the other one. Okay, as for the child that doesn't want to pray, then this is something that is problematic, because it's not something that tended to happen overnight. It comes, I'm not speaking about a specific case, because I do not know the people in question, but we are taught in the Sunnah, مُرُّوا أَوْلَادَكُمْ بِالصَّلَاةِ وَهُمْ أَبْنَاءُ سَبْعٍ وَاضْرِبُوهُمْ عَلَيْهَا وَهُمْ أَبْنَاءُ عَشْرٍ أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام, that command your children to perform salah at the age of 7 and hit them if they don't do it at the age of 10. When your children have been brought up on salah from a young age, and if you as the parent have been performing your salah regularly, anybody who has children and they are people of deen, you will find that the children are drawn to deen. You'll see videos, for example, on the internet, on YouTube, and then there's a little girl or a little boy and they are probably 1.5 years old and they are performing salah. Why? Because they saw their parents performing salah, so they grew up performing their salah. But if the child grows up in a house where the parents don't perform salah, or now and then they'll perform salah, the child won't have that need and that desire to perform salah, because how can you tell me anything when you're not performing it yourself? That's the mindset. Now comes the age of 7 and you don't instruct the child to perform salah, or maybe you instruct the child, but because you're not performing salah, he don't see the need to follow you. And so it happens, and he goes through life and things, and now he's 28 years old, he hasn't been performing salah for 14 years of his life, and it's like, now what must we do? The problem should have been fixed 21 years ago. That's when it should have been, at the very latest. 21 years ago is when this problem should have been eradicated by bringing the child onto salah. But because it wasn't done, now 21 years later you end up with having to face the reality that there is, Houston, we have a problem. So in a case like this here, the parents should, let me put it this way, they should use everything which is within their power. And for example, in this case, the child is living with them, so it's this: perform your salah or find yourself some other place to stay. And if he refuses to perform salah, kick him out, let him go wander the street, sleep in the street, sleep in a cardboard box if need be, and see how long it is. How deep is he in kufr that he would give up everything to sleep in the street and all of that, rather than perform salah to Allah Rabbul Izzati wal Jalal. And if he's willing to sleep in the street instead of performing salah, then he does not deserve to have a family or a home to live in. Such a person is only fit for the fire of Jahannam. So it's up to the parents to use whatever is within their capabilities to force him to perform salah. And I use the word intentionally, to force him, because force, and this is the ruling of the Sharia. For the ulama, they've made mention in for example, the Shafi'i madhab, the ulama of the Shafi'i madhab, they made mention, if a person does not perform salah, the Maliki madhab have the same ruling as well, that the person is to be arrested. In an Islamic state, he will be arrested and he will be lashed. He will be commanded to perform salah and lashed until he performs his salah. He comes to Islam and performs his salah. Otherwise, he will remain in jail and he'll remain on the roll. Every day he'll come out and he'll be given his lashes. And if he still refuses, he'll go back into jail like that, even if he goes up until the day that he dies. But there will not come a time that he'll be set free and be allowed to roam the street without performing his salah. And Allah knows best. Okay, next question. We got a questioner who says that, what can I do to convince my non-Muslim mother that jilbab is not oppressive or stupid or a way for me to hide because of low self-esteem issues? She grew up in a Christian cult and was bitter about being forced to wear a skirt in Northern Ontario. So now she thinks all legalistic religions are BS and self-righteous. It's really hard to reason with her, which is sad because she's very modest in every way but clothing. I also have a question about... Okay, let's deal with one at a time. Okay. With regards to your mother, okay, firstly, welcome to Islam. Alhamdulillah, that Allah has guided you to become a Muslim, and it is a big step which you have taken. So may Allah guide you and assist you throughout your life, and not let you fall weak as a result of the society around you. With regards to your mother and the clothing issue, you know that the thing is, who is it that don't wear clothing? You know, if you look practically, who is there that don't wear clothing? And the solution, or at least the answer, is animals. The more humane you are, the more clothing you wear, the more you want to hide your body. The less humane you are, the more further it is away from being modest, the closer you are to animals. And that is why, if exposing of the body was freedom, then there's nobody and nothing which are more free than animals. I mean, the animals roam around in their birthday suits all over the place. So are we to take our guidance from animals and also run around here in birthday suits? Or do we be human beings and cover ourselves? When we look at one of the scholars, he made mention that when a person looks at Hadrat Adam alayhi salam and Hadrat Hawa alayhi salam, the two of them in Jannah, and they ate from that particular tree which they were forbidden to eat from, after having forgotten about it and eaten from that tree, فبدت لهما سوآتهما وطفقا يخصفان عليهما من ورق الجنة. When they ate from that tree, Allah makes mention in the Quran, when they ate from the tree, then Allah exposed their private parts, and they immediately covered themselves with the leaves from the trees of Jannah. Now, the scholars have explained, and they said the wisdom behind this is that the closer you are to Allah, the more you conceal your let's put it the other way, your modesty and your private parts. But the more you fall into disobedience of Allah, and Hadrat Adam alayhi salam had not sinned, because the Anbiya alayhi salam are sinless, but out of forgetfulness he had eaten from this tree, and as a result of which their privates were exposed. So the closer you are to goodness, the more you will care about your modesty. The further you are away from it, the more you will expose yourself. So when a person looks, unfortunately, as you say, your mother is against all religions. Otherwise, a person can look at Christianity and you'll see the nuns, and they are covered just as well as most Muslim women. In fact, nuns dress better than many Muslim women that you find nowadays, because everybody want to wear a bling hijab and a bling abaya and tight skinny jeans underneath the cloak and things of the sort, and high heels and stilettos and stuff all of the sort here with a camel hump, and the Muslim woman, and then the nun will be there and she'll be covered better according to the laws of the Sharia than this Muslim woman ever could. And then you have orthodox, proper, for example, a Jewish woman, and then she'll be at home, not even coming out. So, where religion is concerned, there is always a degree of modesty. Of course, we're not talking about now the other perverted type people and people who are far removed from religion. So Islam teaches modesty, and it's got nothing to do with being oppressive. Like I say, if covering yourself is of oppression, then everybody should, by very nature, be free. Wear your birthday suit every day, because then you are free. Otherwise, you are oppressed by having to cover yourself each and every single day. Logically, it makes absolutely no sense to walk around in your birthday suit, or at least to call covering yourself oppressive and at the same time wear clothing yourself. It's an oxymoron. If you feel covering yourself fully is oppression, then covering yourself partially is also oppression. You should be go in fully or stay out fully. Either you are against clothing, then don't wear it. Or you are for clothing, then don't blame people who will dress more modestly than you. And Allah knows best. Okay, next question. I have a question about whether I have to change my name. I got my first name after my great-grandmother and the fictional queen in the Bible. It means star in Persian, but the name meaning site said it could also be a variation of Ishtar. Should I change my name because of it? If so, how will I deal with the backlash of my parents? Do I have to change it legally? Okay. When it comes to changing your name after accepting Islam, this is something that I personally always advise people to do, regardless of what your name is, regardless of whether it has a good meaning or not. I always advise people to change their names. Why is this? You know, if you go to a church, or you are born in a Christian, and then you have your baptism, and they baptize you and they give you a second name. So you'll be Quibus Johannes Jonker, for example. Okay, Afrikaans name I'm giving now. Anyway, so he'll be, let's say, Jacob John Charles, for example. He'll be known as Jacob Charles, but when he's baptized, they'll give him the additional Christian name. So he'll be Jacob John Charles. So Jacob John, JJC Charles, for example. They give him an additional name as a result of the baptism. Christianity has it. When you born again, we know, okay, we're not going to get involved into all of that. So when you are making a life change, you're not just, you're not choosing to eat dark chocolate instead of white chocolate here. You're talking about changing every single thing, your beliefs, your actions, and everything for the rest of your life by changing your entire religion. So part of fulfilling that change and making it complete is by taking on a new name as well. So in your case, let's say, for example, you take the name Aisha, for example, or Safiya, for example. You take on a name like this here, a name which is good. You have a good role model to follow as a result of it. We make dua that Allah makes you like them. Things like this here. It's a good name, and you will see the benefits of that name in your own life as well. And furthermore, it ingrains you as a Muslim, not only amongst society, but even to yourself. You know, you're walking in the street and someone calls you, "Hey Benny," or you introduce yourself, "Hi, my name is Ben." Or you're on the phone and you say, "Hi, I'm Ben so and so." The person won't know what religion you are. If they can't see you, if, for example, if you're a woman and you're not covered, they'll think you're a Christian. But if you say, "My name is Safiya," nobody got any question, they know you're a Muslim. If you on the phone with someone, you don't know who you're speaking to, and you say, and they ask, "Who am I speaking to?" and you say, "My name is Safiya," and the person who's phoning you is a Muslim, they say, "Oh, assalamu alaikum, my name is so and so." So it helps you in many aspects of your life. You'll gain a closer relationship. Well, with regards to dealing with the backlash, there are billions of people who have converted to Islam, and they happen to face a backlash to a certain degree, and then it calms down afterwards. With everything in life, when you it's one of the Newton's laws at least, that for every action there is an equal but opposite reaction. So when you take on something like this here, "I'm going to change my name," then there's going to be the opposite reaction from your parents. Some may be okay with it, okay, sure, I mean, supportive, and others will be against it and they'll be upset. But eventually they'll come to realize that you are serious about it, and then they will accept it. And I personally know many people, different cultures, different parts of the world, all who converted to Islam, all changed their name, and some were accepted 100%, some had trouble forever, and some there was trouble initially, but then things changed later on. So we ask that Allah helps you through your difficulties and makes your parents' hearts open to Islam so that they become Muslim as well. And with regards to changing it legally, that is not a necessity per se, but if you do change it legally, all the better. And Allah knows best. Alright, next question. Questioner says that there's a quote which has been mentioned from Imam Junaid al-Baghdadi, which says that Abu al-Qasim al-Junaid rahimahullah said, a sincere person changes 40 times a day, while the hypocritical show stays as he is for 40 years. So the questioner says that we know that Iman goes up and down, but what is the basis for claiming it changes 40 times a day from the Quran and Sunnah? You know, this is using 40, using 7, using 70. These are words to denote kathra, as we call it in Arabic, to show a huge amount. So when you don't mean literally, okay, count, okay, that's the second time, third time he changed. Okay, I'm on 39 times now. It's only going to change one more time for the rest of the day. No, he's using it to denote that a Muslim, you have ups and downs. You are always open to the fact that yes, I may be wrong and things like this here, and you come closer to Allah. So you are well, let me put it this way, you are open to accepting your faults and making tawbah for it, versus a munafiq who, you know, and this is mentioned actually taken from similar from a hadith, which is that the Muslim, when the wind blows, he bends with the wind, but the munafiq is like that one who's firmly rooted in the ground. So when a strong wind comes, it wraps him up and throws him away. But the Muslim is that one that the wind will come, the difficulties will come, it will blow him, he'll go down, but being a supple plant, he'll come back up again. He won't be rubbed out and thrown away. So in a like manner, yes, we have our good times, we have our hard times, we have the times when your iman is low and your iman is high, but it's not restricted to a number that is going to be 29 for him and 40 for him. It's not restricted to that number. It's simply to say that yes, it changes according to the time. Some days it may change a lot, some days it may change a little, but it's not to only limit it to being 40 times. That's just a number which has been used. And Allah knows best. Okay, next question. Questioner says that is it a sin to miss the Taraweeh Salah with no valid reason, and ruling on those who claim Taraweeh is nothing more than a cultural practice promoted by certain countries, especially the subcontinent. Okay, with regards to people who reject the Taraweeh Salah, these people are closer to kufr than Islam, because the Taraweeh Salah is firmly established as the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's absolutely no question about it, and anybody who doubts it is a person who, like I say, has absolutely no knowledge of Islam whatsoever. The Pope knows more about Islam than such a person, if he can make such a claim. And such a person is, like I say, in fact, the Pope is a better Muslim than such a person who claims that it's something which was made up and not part of Islam. With regards to missing the Taraweeh Salah is Sunnah, and it is something which the Ummah has been doing and have been established upon for 1400 years. When, you know, the thing is, we don't get bogged down by whether it is sinful or what, but where is your Ramadan if you are not performing your Taraweeh Salah? There are some people who spend their days during the Ramadan, maybe they fast, maybe they don't fast. Now they lay in front of the TV, and because there's some new drama, Ertugrul new season is playing, because everybody seems to be running after it, or some new movie is releasing during Ramadan, and in some of the Arab lands, they specifically bring out dramas during Ramadan. Normal TV dramas during Ramadan, because they know there's tens of thousands of people who lay in front of the TV. Their Ramadan is just like water rolling off a stone, benefiting it nothing in the least. So where is your Ramadan if you are not performing the Taraweeh Salah? Part of Ramadan, the feeling of being a Muslim, is standing in the Taraweeh Salah every night and hearing the Quran from day one till the end, and knowing that at least, if nothing else, I have heard the entire Quran behind the Imam. So we will never ever encourage people that, okay, it's not sinful, it's only sunnah, so I won't bother with it. Never will you find ulama encouraging or giving people leeway to do things of that sort. And Allah knows best. Next question. To what extent does a person have to be mentally ill where he does not have to pray salah, or he will not be accountable on the day of judgment? I actually just answered this just on Wednesday. I was speaking in a class on this very same topic of insanity and accountability. And the gist of the story is that insanity has got multiple levels. There are degrees of insanity. There is, for example, a person is a sociopath, so he's deemed in the medical terms as having a mental disorder. Having OCD, that's a mental disorder. For example, you have a person who's bipolar, it's a mental disorder. A homosexual, it's a mental disorder. In fact, like I say, you go back about 100 and something years ago, homosexuality was listed as being a mental disorder. Nowadays they're pushing it so like it's the best thing since sliced bread, but a couple of years ago they were listing it as being a mental disorder. People were put in madhouses if they were gay. So how the tables have turned. But anyhow, so you have degrees of insanity. A person who's bipolar, who's a sociopath, and things of this nature, even though it may be termed as a type of insanity, but these people are all required by the Sharia to perform their salah. They've got no excuse whatsoever for missing it. Okay, so with regards to absolute, so when coming back to insanity, when we talk about insanity from a Sharia perspective, it is when a person don't know what he's doing. So you know the mad ones who walk in the street, who talk to aliens, who talk to people that's not there, those type of people, they are the ones who are excused. But the normal person, and then you have people who have bouts of insanity. Sometimes he's insane, you know. When the moon is full, he becomes a werewolf and he goes off his rocker. Later on, he comes back to normal again. During the course that he was off his rocker, then at that time the pen is lifted from him. But when he's back to normal again, then the laws of Islam applies to him again. So it's something which comes and goes. So there are levels. And it is not, and it's something which is dealt with on an individual basis. When a person has had a psychic break and he's lost his mind, he's sitting there rocking and talking to himself, then, you know, there's no question about it. Such a person, the pen has been lifted from him. But many times, people have got degrees of insanity, and the degree of insanity that they have is not enough to absolve them because they know what's going on. They are able to function normally for the most part. So those people are, the laws of Islam still apply to them and the pen is not been lifted from them. And Allah knows best. Okay, next question. The question says that in meat, are certain parts haram to eat as per the Hanafi madhab or other madhabs such as male, female, animal, private area and other areas? Okay, I cannot speak for the other madhahib, but as far as the Hanafi madhab is concerned, then yes, there are certain parts of the animal which are not permissible to eat, which are the private things and the, you know, the everything that's attached to the private things as well. There's basically 7 parts in total of the animal, but that's about all. Like I said, I cannot speak for the other madhahib. I do not know if the other madhahib permit the entire animal or whether they are all, whether this law applies to the other madhahib as well. But as far as the Hanafi madhab is concerned, yes, there are certain parts of the animal which are not permitted to be eaten, and Allah knows best. Okay, next question. We've still got a number of questions left, a lot of questions, and we've gone on now for 53 minutes. So I'll try to push a little bit so that we can go through all of them because I don't want to leave questions unanswered. Alright, so next question is, in Bangladesh, many scholars say that when a man misses his salah, he's fully accountable on the day of judgment, but if a woman misses her salah, then her husband will be questioned first and will take some blame if he didn't advise or make his wife pray. Is this true? It's true to a degree and not true at the same time. a man is fully responsible for himself, a woman is fully responsible for herself. Nobody will take the blame of another person. But Amr bil Ma'roof, Nahi anil Munkar is a requirement on each and every single person, especially for a husband over his wife, a father over his daughter, and it applies vice versa as well. The wife over her husband. If she sees her husband isn't performing salah and she don't tell him it's salah time, perform salah, then she's not doing her duty and she'll be taken to task for not having done Amr bil Ma'roof and Nahi anil Munkar. So in like manner, if a husband does not tell his wife to perform salah, when he sees her not performing it, then he is guilty of not doing Amr bil Ma'roof and Nahi anil Munkar. However, it's not correct to say that he bears her burden because she refuses to perform the salah. And Allah knows best. Okay, next question. The questioner says that how do we stay away or ignore music when it is literally everywhere? Indeed, music is all over the place. Haram and sin is all over the place. Riba is all over the place. Zina is all over the place. Everywhere you look, there's some. You can barely walk down the street, and then you'll see your eyes will probably do zina 100 times before you get back home. So it's all over the place. But you do what is within your capabilities. Let's say you happen to go to a mall because you need to buy something over there, and they all tend to be playing music. There is something called tuning out. You walk, people zone out all the time, and then they don't hear what's going on around them. So if you happen to be in a mall, you come to the shop, you come in to do the things that you require. They've got music playing or the radio playing with music on over the speakers, which is quite common. And many people will go in the shop and come out and not even know that the radio was on or what was playing. And these are people who are not Muslim, who are not trying to tune out the radio. They were just so engrossed in what they were doing that they weren't even aware that the radio was playing. So it's not something which is impossible to do. It's quite possible for any person to do such a thing. In fact, you can even, if you wanted to, you can put in earphones, play your own qira'ah or nasheed and go in, do what you need to do, come out, and you don't have to listen to it. We have not been pushed into such a situation where there's absolutely no way you're going to get involved in it. Yes, you will hear it. I mean, even the Sahaba radiyallahu anhu, even Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam heard music passing by and there was music playing. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam put his fingers in his ears and moved on from there. And then afterwards, when the music couldn't be heard, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam removed his fingers from his ears. So the hearing of the music was there, and then you block it out. So in your case, you hear the music, yes, you block it out, you tune it out, you move on. And that's how it is. You try to the best of your ability, and when it comes, let's say for example, some people, unfortunately, they have to travel, for example, by taxi, and I'm speaking now in the context of South African taxis and not what America and the UK have, these fancy yellow cabs and black cab taxis where they don't experience what happens in the taxis in South Africa, where you'll sit in a taxi with probably a taxi which is supposed to hold 8 people, and there's actually 17 people squashed on top of one another, or maybe 25, and the music is pounding so that it's making the glasses and things out of the shops outside rattle, and you can't escape it because you need to go to work and this is your only means of transport. And this is now again an exception to the rule. You don't want to do it, you have no alternative, and you push it into such a situation, and that Allah will excuse you for. But as long as you are trying your utmost to abstain from it, Allah is the most forgiving and the most merciful, and Allah will excuse you for those things which were beyond your capabilities. And Allah knows best. Okay, next question is that how do you repent from saying Salah is not obligatory? A person spoke such words and repent and renew his Shahada. Is it enough for that person to renew his Shahada in private? Okay. A person who makes a statement saying Salah is not obligatory immediately leaves the fold of Islam. It is a statement of major kufr. It puts you outside the fold of Islam. There is no question about it. If a person was married, his marriage breaks. That's the severity of the statement. It's kufr akbar, no question about it. So for such a person to come back to Islam, if it's sufficient for him to say it to himself without any person being present, to repent and repeat his shahada, and he returns back to Islam again. It's not necessary for him to make the statement in public. Yes, if he had made the statement in public, it is good if he says it maybe in public where there will be witnesses, so that people will say, no, I do know this man, he made the statement but he repented and he had repeated his shahada. Otherwise, what happens? You made the statement, you heard it, you moved on, people heard your statement of kufr, they didn't hear your tawbah. Now what happens? You get in an accident, you die, and people want to know, was this man Muslim or not Muslim? Or at least, well, what's the state with regards to this person? And the person say, no, you can't make his ghusl, you can't perform salah for him, he was a kafir. I heard him make the statement saying salah is not valid, or at least it's not obligatory. And people say, no, okay, in that case he's a kafir, we can't perform his salah. Then you get dumped in a hole, or a Christian goes and buries you. And why? Because you kept it hidden. So if it was done in public, you should do it in public, but your iman is your shahada is valid if you do it on your own. But you should do it in public, so that you do it on your own immediately, but you do it again in public so that there are witnesses to say, I know this man had recanted from this belief of kufr and returned back to Islam. And Allah knows best. Next question. How does one make a missed rakats of prayer in congregation if they join the congregation late or if they forget to do a step in prayer? Okay. If you are performing salah behind the imam and you missed a rak'ah or 1, 2, 3, however many you have missed, then you will follow the imam till the end. The imam will make the salam and then you will stand up from that point and fill in whatever it is that you have missed. And this is something that is best learned under someone that you can physically go to and learn the laws of salah. It's a little bit difficult to understand it from pure theory by hearing an answer the way I'm giving it over here. If you don't know the laws of being a masbuq and must raka'at and all stuff of the sort here, it's best you can attend a short class. I mean, one of the classes I teach, we went through the laws of fiqh, basics of salah and stuff like this, and all of these sort of things were covered. I did this on the radio on Ummah forum as well. So it's not something which is difficult or impossible in any way to do. You can do it with someone online if they're doing classes. You can do it better in person. You can physically see how it is done. Because like I say, if you can't picture it in your mind, it becomes a little bit difficult to put it into practice. But yeah, so you come, let's work on one example. You come to the masjid, the imam has finished his first rak'ah. Okay, first thing is, man adraka al-ruku'a faqad adraka al-rak'ah, as Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, if you catch the imam in ruku', you have caught the rak'ah. If you catch him after the ruku', you've lost the rak'ah. So you come into the masjid and you catch the imam heading down into sajda. So you've missed that rak'ah. You join him, you see he gets back up, which means you've only missed one single rak'ah of that salah. So you'll go follow the salah, everything like normal with him. Come to the end, in your final tashahhud, imam now say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. You don't make the salam, you sit quiet, and then when he makes his salam, then you stand up. So you stand up, and then because you had missed your first rak'ah in essence, so you will be required to recite Surah Fatiha and a Surah. So you will stand up, you will recite Surah Fatiha, you will recite a Surah, you'll go down into Ruku', into Sajda, sit again, which will now essentially be sitting 3 times in the Salah rather than regular 2 sittings. There'll be 3 sittings as a result of it. So you'll sit in your final rak'ah now and you'll finish your Salah off as normal. And Allah knows best. Okay, next question. The question says that are therapies used by non-Muslims haram for Muslims, such as yoga? And what about cupping? Alright. With regards to cupping is part of Islam. Cupping is from the Sunnah. It is something that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam recommended. If there is a cure in anything, it is in this cupping. So going for hijama, for cupping, is something which is definitely very good. And it's not, the kuffar happen to come onto it now. It become famous after the Olympics, when they saw this Olympian having these suction marks on him, and then it became, the whole world now suddenly we want to do cupping. But cupping has been around for a long time, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had cupping done and have advised us to also have cupping done as well. So that is from Islam. With regards to yoga is haram to do. There is no permissibility for it. Yoga stems from Hinduism, and every every one of the asanas, which is the postures of yoga, is with the Padmasana and all of these things. Each posture, everything is, for example, you sit in the lotus position. What is the lotus position in your yoga? You go and you look at the Buddha and certain idols, and you'll find them in that same position. It is a position of enlightenment and thing. Every single posture, the offering things to the sun and stuff, every last one of it is drenched in shirk. And that is why whether you say, no, I'm not worshipping the sun, I'm not intending to do, it is still the same. It's like saying, I'm wearing a cross around my neck, but I don't believe in Jesus. It's still as haram and kufr to wear that cross, regardless of what your intention is. So regardless of what a person's intention is, yoga is an absolute haram thing, and there's absolutely no permissibility for it whatsoever. And Allah knows best. Okay, next question. Can the waswasa of shaitan come in the form of images or scenes, like in dreams, in the mind, or is it only in words or whispers? Okay, the waswasa of shaitan can come in any form. In fact, what causes an image to appear in your mind? Often by a person speaking and you hear something, or that whisper of shaitan, it causes a mental image to appear. If you are hearing, let's say for example, you hear that, let's put it this way, you hear that Yasser Qadhi has come to town. What pops into your mind when you hear Yasser Qadhi? You see his picture in front of you. Obviously you know what he looks like, so his picture pops in your mind. Intentionally, unintentionally, his picture appears. It's a natural thing. So shaitan can come and can put images in your mind and then distract you in that way, or he can come and just simply put words and distract you by whispering to you. Both ways is there, and it's quite normal. And Allah knows best. Okay, next question. What is the ruling on those who support and defend LBGT, sodomy, bestiality, and stuff of the things here now? They have political support and movements which depend on the countries where one or more of those things are legalized. What is the ruling on such people? Okay, this is an important question, and it is something that I have spoken about some time now. People tend to get the wrong impression with regards to many things. So you have people who claim to be Muslim and they are championing the cause for LGBTQI and all of these sort of things. Any person, male or female, who supports, who encourages, who finds no problem with being gay, lesbian, bisexual, queer, intersex, whatever name you want to add onto it over there, any person who calls himself a Muslim and has no problem with it, or feels it may be permissible, who say it's your choice if you want to be that way, who supports for it, who puts up an ad for it, who prints an ad for it, who tries to justify it. Every single last one of these people have committed kufr akbar. They have left the fold of Islam. If they are married, their marriages are broken. The wife immediately goes into iddah. If the wife is a Muslim and the husband is the one who said this, if it is the wife, she has left the fold of Islam. She has become a murtadda. The marriage is broken. The husband may not have any relations with her. That is the severity of it. It is kufr akbar. It is istihlalul haram, making haram halal, and that is one of the nullifiers of iman, which you can find in Aqidat al-Tahawiyah, just to name one kitab, which is the unanimous aqidah of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, where he says, we do not make takfir of a Muslim for a major sin illa idha istahallahu, except when he makes that sin halal. So when a person makes LGBTQI halal, it's okay, there's no problem with it, or he stands in support of it, then he leaves the fold of Islam as well. And Allah knows best. Okay, next question. Question says, which one is worse? Not wearing niqab, but believing a woman should wear it and wanting and intending to do so, but being too weak, unable at the moment, or not wearing a niqab and believing it is only sunnah and not obligatory? You know, these type of questions in reality have no basis, and there's no benefit for such things, because when you are trying to say who's better, who's worse, why, are you trying to get brownie points over another Muslim, think you are better than another Muslim. عند Allah, we don't know who has a higher rank. So we don't فَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ هُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِمَنِ اتَّقَى. Don't ascribe purity to yourselves, because Allah alone knows who is the people of taqwa. Allah tells us that in the Quran. So we don't look who is better and who is worse, which one is better. In both cases, both women aren't wearing the niqab. What are their reasons why they aren't doing it? At the end of the day, it is not important to the next person. It's like saying one person don't perform salah because he's lazy, and the other person don't perform salah because he's fat. Let's come up with an excuse such as that. So he feels he's fat, so he gets out of breath, so he don't want to perform salah. It's too much of a trouble for him, it's an effort for him to do it. It's like a jamming basically for him to perform salah. And the other one, he can't be bothered. He's lazy. He don't want to do it. So what excuse they're giving don't make no difference at the end of the day. Both of them aren't performing their salah. So this question, which one is worse? It don't make. When you start looking that, at least I want to wear the niqab. She don't want to wear it because she say it's only sunnah. Yes, she's wrong for doing it, and yes, you are also wrong for not wearing it. But the minute you start thinking this, because you put yourself in the shoes of one of the two parties, that I'm in the party of those who want to wear it, but I'm feeling weak, so at least I'm better than that one. And the minute you start thinking that I'm better than that one, then that person becomes the better one than you. So it's from the talbis of Iblis, the deception of shaitan, to make you think that you are better than another Muslim. Yes, sinful, whatever the case may be, one may be more sinful than the other, but that's not the thing. What we should focus on is myself and that person. We both aren't doing it. Allah may take me to task more before that other person over there, so I should concern myself with my sin rather than why that person is not doing it as well. And Allah knows best. Next question is, what is the ruling on saying something along these lines? A Muslim woman who wears hijab is not better than a Muslim woman who does not wear hijab. One who wears hijab may have hidden sins that are worse than the sin of the sister who doesn't wear hijab. Okay, that's basically the same as the previous question, which is that, yes, the one who wears hijab, she may have other sins. Who is closer to Allah is something that Allah knows and we don't know. One person may be Hadrat Maulana Mufti Sahab, has the entire sunnah on the outside, but he has some sin that Allah dislikes so much that he is destined for Jahannam. And another person may be on the outside, away from the sunnah, but he has done something so good on the inside that Allah so loves it that Allah decides he will go to Jannah. So that is not our abode to be judging which one is who is closer to Allah. That's why, the ulama, the sahaba, the tabi'in, nobody would say I'm better than that one. They wouldn't even say that's why you even have ulama who used to say I am not better than that dog over there, and they meant it. They weren't using it as some exaggeration. They would say I am not better than that dog. Why? And they would say, until the day that I die. If I die upon Iman, then I am better than the dog. But if I die without Iman, then the dog is better than me. That's the type of statements that the Salaf used to make. So, coming back to the question. The woman who does not wear hijab, she's committing a major sin. There's absolutely no question about it. And the other one who wears hijab, maybe she's got other sins. Okay, let's put it this way. One woman, she's got good character on the inside. She doesn't lie, she doesn't cheat, anything of the sort, but she doesn't wear hijab. She's committing a serious sin. She'll be taken to task for it. The other one covers from the outside, but on the inside, for example, she carries tales, she gossips, she lies, she cheats, she frauds and stuff like this here. She's also guilty of major sins. So, and there was one of those display pictures somebody had on it which says, don't judge somebody because they sin differently from you. Words to that effect. That you are doing one sin, they are doing another sin. You are not better than them because you are doing the sin which they aren't. Just like they aren't better than you because they are doing the sin which you aren't. Yes, both are equally sinful. And who is closer to Allah, that is something that Allah knows and we do not know. And Allah knows best. Okay, next question. What are the most important steps to beautify one's character? When it comes to the issue of your character, when we talk about husnul khuluq, your having good character and things, then Imam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, I've forgotten the quotation of his, but he made mention a lengthy quotation on the topic of what exactly Imam Ibn Taymiyyah or Imam Ibn Qayyim, one of the two, on this topic of what is the definition of good character. And according to their definition, most people today don't have good character if you really look at it in that sense. But yes, when it comes to if you wanted to say what's the most important step with regards to having good character, then I would sum it up in the words of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in one hadith, which is min husni islam al-mar'i tarkuhu ma la ya'nihi, that from the sign of a good iman of a person is that he does not concern himself with things that does not concern him. He abandons things which got nothing to do with him. It's a very far-reaching statement of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Stay out of the business of people, and when you don't gossip about other people, leave them. Obviously, we're not talking about sins and stuff of the sort, but what are they doing in their home and stuff like this? Or they had a fight and thing. Now you also getting involved in stuff like this here. This shows the result of bad character when you get involved in all things of that sort. So when your interactions with people is not harmful towards them but are beneficial, then that is the first step that you are on the right path with regards to perfecting your character. And Allah knows best. Okay, next question. What is the ruling on liking pigs and saying pig is my favorite animal or pig is my second favorite animal? Some of these questions are, I would say it tends to come more from the point of serious OCD or things of that nature. These are not normal type questions. Anyhow, the pig at the end of the day is a creation of Allah, and we don't hate a pig because a pig is a pig. A pig is a believer in Allah and a kafir is not a believer in Allah. Ergo, a pig is closer to Allah than a kafir. Let that sink in just for a moment. A pig believes in Allah, a kafir does not believe in Allah. So a kafir is worse than a pig. Yet, people will be, I like so and so. I like, for example, they in soccer, so it's Messi or it's Ronaldo, it's so and so, or in this sport and that sport, and or this actor or that actress or this model and stuff like this, and people don't give a second thought about it. But if you say you like a pig, then it's a problem. Yes, we don't say we are not, let's put it this way, we are not people attached to pigs. We've got nothing to do with pigs. We don't curse the pigs because Allah has not told us to curse the pig. We don't curse dogs and monkeys and pigs and stuff of the sort here. They are still the creations of Allah. We don't oppress them. We don't say, oh, there's a pig, let's run and cut his head off. We don't do things like that. But it is important to remember that the pig is a believer in Allah and a creation of Allah, and a kafir is a creation of Allah and a disbeliever in Allah. So the kafir is lower on the food chain than a pig. So before you start wanting to fight with people for example, saying that he likes a pig, which no Muslim should be saying in the first place, but let's assume a person does say it, it is less in severity than saying I like such and such a kafir. But like I say, that sort of thought don't cross the mind of 99% of people. They think absolutely nothing. I like this particular political party or that particular ruler. Some people may like Trump. They may be insane and like the orange monster. They may like him. This one may like Brad Ampert, and the next one may like the next one. And nobody will give it a second thought. They'll be like, that's the soccer player, Messi. So he'll go out and he'll buy himself a soccer jersey which will have Messi written on the back, and he'll be proud of it. But you find a problem with the pig. It's when your priorities are not correct. Then you're looking at the stick and in the next man's eye, and you're not seeing the log that's in your own eye. That's the severity of the comparison between the two. And Allah knows best. Alright, we got one more question here from the forum, then I'll just refresh it and see if we have any more further questions. We hadn't gotten any questions on Skype to the best of my knowledge. Nothing on Skype, so we'll just take this and then we'll see what has come through on WhatsApp and see if anything else comes through in the meantime. Anyhow, so questioner says that there's a quote from Yasser Qadhi circulating around the internet which says, if you want something in your life and you aren't praying tahajjud for it, then in reality you don't really want it. Is this true? Is there dalil for this in the Quran and Sunnah? What if a person wants something so much but they suffer from waswasa or depression or other problems that make praying, let alone praying additional prayers, difficult for them, but even though they don't pray tahajjud for some time, they still make dua constantly? Whether Yasser Qadhi said this or not, I don't know. I'm not a follower of Yasser Qadhi. I'm not a fan of Yasser Qadhi. I condemn Yasser Qadhi. I tell people not to listen to Yasser Qadhi. But even Iblis could speak the truth. So even if Yasser Qadhi said these words, then it is words of truth and it is factual. So tahajjud, the ulama used to say that tahajjud is like an arrow which does not miss its target. If you want something, you call out to Allah in the middle of the night after having performed your, which is Qiyamul Layl, is your tahajjud, the salah you are performing at night after waking up and stuff like this here. That's the time when dua are accepted and Allah asks, who of my servants is wanting something so that I may grant it to him. So this is the time when you are supposed to be making your salah, your dua and things. So it's, you're missing out on that time. So, you know, to say that the person suffers from waswasa or depression or other problems, then all of these are nothing but deception from shaitan. Nothing but deception from shaitan. And I will stand by this regardless of what the person comes out with. It is nothing whatsoever at all in any way or form but the pure deception of shaitan for a person to come out and make any such excuse. Short of being a sickly person that needs to sleep 9 hours, that needs to sleep literally from after Isha till Fajr time without missing 1 minute, otherwise you will be having heart problems and issues like this, and that's why you need to sleep so long. Short of being in that situation, you've got absolutely no excuse whatsoever. Yes, tahajjud is not farad. Yes, tahajjud is a sunnah. Yes, it is something which is very rewarding, but there is no excuse a person can come out with and say it's depression, it's waswasa, it's this here, I've got some issue. That's excuses. At the end of the day, it is excuses which comes from shaitan, and there is no justification for it from a Sharia perspective. So yes, you know, let's turn the tables a little bit, and let's say that, okay, let's replace maybe tahajjud with another ibadah. Let's say the making of, okay, let's not put it in an ibadah perspective. People will want to move forward in life. They'll want to have a particular grade. Maybe they're studying at university and they're serious about their studies. So, you know, when you're a person who's studying and you want to pass, you know, it costs a lot of money to work, to pay for your tuition and stuff like this here. You can't afford to fail and take the year over again. You'll spend burning the midnight oil, studying to make sure you pass your exam. You'll do everything, pull out all the stops because you want it. So how is it that you can say, I want something, but no, I have depression, I can't perform tahajjud salah? That's not a valid excuse in any way or form whatsoever. If a person finds themselves making such excuses, then they must do introspection, serious introspection, and say, why is it that I am coming out with excuses of this sort? How far have I drifted that this is the type of excuse which holds me back? Ask Allah to guide you and bring you onto the path of His love, the things which He loves. Allahumma inni as'aluka hubbaka wa hubba man yuhibbuka wa hubba amali yuqarribuni ila hubbika ya arhamar rahimin. You make a dua of that sort. Oh Allah, I ask you for your love and the love of those things which you love and the love of those who you... These are the type of dua that you make so that you are moving closer to Allah, rather than saying, I'm happy where I am, I'm laying down here, doing what I want to, I can't be bothered. In essence, that's what it boils down to. I can't be bothered to get up to make tahajjud. So, you know, it's like, I can't be bothered to study. Can't you just give me my certificate, get it over with? If you made a statement like that in university, they'd say, take your jacket and go, get out, go find yourself a place elsewhere. So you are basically telling Allah, I can't be bothered to get up and perform salah for you because I got depression. You got depression, you find your solution out of your depression in salah. You have waswasa, you find the solution for it in your salah. You've got problems. You know, they say, you don't, one of those meme type things that goes around, you don't say, oh Allah, I have big problems. You tell your problems, oh problems, I have a great Allah. Allah is greater than your problems. So if you want a solution to your problems, how will you find your solutions? By not coming closer to Allah. If you have waswasa from shaitan, who will cure you from that except Allah? If you have problems in anything in life, where will you find your solution except by Allah? Allah is the solution for everything. Allah is the one who is in control of everything. You cannot come closer to Allah. You cannot expect Allah to look after you if you cannot look after the laws of Allah. If you are not willing to take a step closer to Allah, why should Allah be expected to, not to really use this word, but like to spoon feed and carry after you? So yes, a person may not make tahajjud and Allah may still accept your dua. Allah even accepts the dua of a kafir. When a kafir is in a plane and the plane is crashing and he calls out, oh God, help me, Allah still helps him and rights the plane and let them arrive safely. So Allah even answers the dua of a kafir. Allah can still answers the dua of everybody, even if you are not performing your tahajjud. But to use that as an excuse is not a good sign at all. And Allah knows best. Okay, I'm going to refresh the forum here and see if anybody has any further questions. And in the meantime, I will be taking some of the questions from WhatsApp. Alright, so okay, looks like there are no further questions from the forum. So let's close the door from the forum side because we're now just about on 1 hour and 26 minutes into our Q&A. So let's take our final questions from the WhatsApp and then end on that point, inshallah. So our questioner says, I would like a detailed explanation of why Surah Tawbah is read without the Basmalah. There is no detailed explanation. If I were to put it simply and straightforward, there is no detailed reason behind it. The reason behind it is because Allah sent down the Quran and Rasulullah through Jibreel alayhi salam to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam to the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum, and told them this ayah is from that surah who goes there in that position, and Bismillah goes here and things. And Bismillah was basically used as the Sahaba radiyallahu anhu mentioned how they would separate between the surahs, so they would know this surah ends here and that surah begins there by the basmala. So that's how they would know the beginning and the end of a surah. However, when it comes to Surah Tawbah, the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum had not put down Bismillah at the beginning of it, and the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum, and you find numerous narrations in this regard, that the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum, Hazrat Abdullah ibn Abbas, Hazrat Uthman ibn Affan, others who have all spoken on the topic here, that they were asked that why did you not have Surah, or at least why did you not have Basmala at the beginning of Surah Bara'ah, Surah Tawbah? It's there by Surah Anfal, it's there by all the other surahs, but why is it not by Surah Tawbah? And the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum said, because this is the way that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam had taught the Quran to us, that there was no basmala at the beginning of it, and that was it. It sufficed for the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum. What more example, what more explanation did they need? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam didn't do it. That's it. And it ends there. Hazrat Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anhuma, he comes to a place in the middle of nowhere. He gets off his camel, he performs 2 rak'at salah, gets back on his camel and he rides on. In the middle of nowhere, for no apparent reason. And he's asked, why did you do this? He say, I was with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam came here, he got down, performed 2 rak'ah salah, got on, back on and rode on. So I do it because Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam did it. I didn't need to find out a more of a reason than that. That was it. It was the ittiba'ati sunnah, the complete obedience and following of the sunnah, that they didn't need to ask why. It was like that, it's like that. Why do we pull a mud for X amount? Because the Quran was revealed like that. We don't need a further why. So there is no detailed explanation. Yes, certain ulama had given now interpretations from this and not from Quran and Sunnah, from Sahaba and like that, but they would now give explanation that it can be for this reason. Yeah, some say it because it was the Surah Bara'ah, it broke now the treaties between Muslims and kuffar. It was the surah to expel the mushrikeen from Makkah. It was a surah which was about jihad and things. So they say that Bismillah comes and it has a connotation of peace and stuff like this here, and therefore this surah does not begin with it, so that to show the seriousness. But this is now opinions from the side of ulama, which has its place. But when we talk about explanation, when we talk about practicality, when we talk about reality, then we restrict ourselves to that of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum. We do not need further examples and explanations. What was sufficient for them is sufficient for us, and what was not sufficient for them should not be sufficient for us either. And Allah knows best. Next question. If a family member from your extended family, your in-laws, has turned murtad, how should you react to such a person? Whether the person is from your immediate family, your extended family, not family at all, if the person has become a murtad, such a person should be cut off basically. Let them wallow in their misery, if so be. The ruling in an Islamic state is that a murtad would be taken and executed, or at least I should say they would be imprisoned and given 3 days to return back to Islam, and then if they still refuse, they will be executed. That's how the law is. But because we're not in an Islamic state over here, so therefore these type of laws cannot be enacted. As a result, you have murtads roaming all over the place, and so they come up, or at least the ulama came up with these type of things, that how do you interact with them when you happen to have a murtad family member or somebody who you can have an effect on. Then and only then is it permitted to keep contact with that person, so that you can give them da'wah and bring them back. But if you see that this person is adamant in the kufr, then you cut them off. And sometimes you cut them off from the beginning to show them that if you want to be a murtad, find your own way, I will not be here for you. And sometimes that makes them realize the error of their ways, and they come back to Islam. So the only time it's permitted to keep contact with a murtad is when you are trying to bring them back to Islam. But let's say you're having a family gathering, there's a wedding or something, and now you invite the murtad around. That is not permissible. Such a murtad brings a curse onto the gathering by or at least you as the person who invite the murtad, you bring bala on your own wedding, your own maybe it's a funeral, whatever it is, by allowing a murtad to attend as well. They should be cut off and left to do their own thing. If they want to go and worship stones or whatever, let them go ahead and do it, but you keep your distance from such people. And Allah knows best. Next question. When natural disasters hit a region, which is from Allah of course, how should the Muslims react to it? Yes, to use the term natural disasters, it has led people to start using terms like mother nature and stuff like this, which are statements of kufr. But anyhow, there is nothing which nature does. Allah is in control of everything. There is no such thing as nature controls stuff. When Allah sends down a disaster, it is either one of two things. It is a test or it's a punishment. More often than not, it's a punishment. It is so that Allah may give you some punishment in this world, so that you can be brought back, you can get your mind straight and realize that Allah has punished you as a result of your crimes, so that you have time now in this world to repent and come back to Allah. And if you happen to be of the wrong type, then you are amongst those that Allah destroy when the disaster comes. So disasters come, and yes, pious people will die and sinners will die. Both will die, and Allah ثم يحشرون على نياتهم, then Allah will resurrect them according to their intentions, as you'll find this hadith in regards to this in Riyadus Salihin, for example, in one of the earlier chapters, hadith reported by Hadra Aisha radiyallahu anha. So that يخسف بأولهم وآخرهم, that on that particular hadith, that Allah will let everybody be swallowed into the earth, a big sinkhole, and everybody is gone, everybody, those who were the good ones and the bad ones, everybody, and then Allah will resurrect everyone according to the intentions. If you were a Muslim, you were good, you weren't involved in the evil, then Allah will raise you in a good position. But if you were a supporter, you were a silent person, you never made nahi anil munkar, then you'll find yourself in a bad situation. So when there are any disasters, the reaction of a Muslim is to do introspection and say, what have we done that Allah has punished us like this year? Whatever it is, we need to change it so that we can return back to Allah. That is what a Muslim's mindset and a Muslim's response to any form of disaster is. And Allah knows best. One more question we got over here is the question that says, please explain the laws regarding insurance policies. Okay, I'm just seeing if there are any further questions. Okay, I got another question here on Skype, on WhatsApp, but I don't know if it's just a regular question that's always sent to me on WhatsApp, or is this a question that was meant to be answered over the radio. So I guess I'll answer it over here one time. So if you do happen to be listening, I'll answer it, you will have your answer. If not, then I'll send it to you on WhatsApp as well. Any case, but let's take our first question over here, which was the insurance policies. Insurance is a riba, sort of a transaction. It is something which is haram as far as the Sharia is concerned, and the ulama generally have written enough explanations on the topic of riba, unfortunately. And unfortunately, you have so many people who have fallen. They have again the title of Maulana, they have the title of Mufti, they are regarded as a scholar, but he says, for example, insurance is permissible. These people fall under the ulama who sue the evil scholars, and not the real ulama of haqq who stand up for what is right. So unfortunately, the people look to ulama for guidance, but what can they do when it is the ulama who are the ones that must guiding the people? So in any case, insurance is haram, and there is no permissibility for it whatsoever. It is not permissible for you to take out an insurance policy, to take out a life insurance policy, to take out a car insurance policy, or any other form of insurance policy at all. When you happen to live in a country, now certain countries in the world, in order for you to have a car, to have a license to drive, they require you to take out insurance, road insurance. And in a case like that, where it is forced upon you, the ulama have said, in that case, you are excused. Now, for example, let's say the UK, they've got more stricter rulings in this regard. In South Africa, if you happen to have a new car, if you happen to be driving for a taxi company or Uber or one of these sort of things, then yes, they do require you to have insurance. But if you've got your old car and you just go along your own way, then you're not forced to have insurance. So in a case like South Africa, then you stay away from insurance. But like I say, if in the UK you can't get on the road, you cannot have a car, if you don't have that insurance, then you are forced into it, and that, the ulama have explained, you will be excused for. Then you have the type of insurance which is done from the side of, let's say for example, you buy a house, or you buy a house at least through a bank. Haram and all the things in its own right with the riba loans and stuff of that sort. We're not talking about that. That's a different topic altogether. So be that as it may in its place. Now the bank, as a result, they take out an insurance policy on your life as the policy holder. So they require you to pay back, let's say your payment per month is now, you took R1 million loan, they require you to pay back 14,000 Rand a month on that million rand, or let's say 10,000 rand a month, and in your payment that you are paying back is this policy which they have taken out on your life, not you. You didn't do it, but that policy which they take out on your life is, in the event that you happen to die, then the loan is paid off and the house becomes now the property of your heirs. So in an event like this here, the payment that is done in this case is again in that situation where you are excused for the, how to call it now, it's not something you are taking out intentionally, so you are excused for that. Of course, like I say, we're talking about you've done probably 3 haram things to reach this stage here, so that doesn't absolve you to do the haram to reach this stage in the first place. But because we do know enough people have done it and they happen to find themselves in that situation, then that is what the ruling is. And then of course you have those other ulama who now speak from the point that, let's say for example, you are now forced from your job or whatever, you bought a car, so they require you, while you are paying the car off, that you have to have insurance on the car. So the value of your car is 50,000 rand, for example, and you pay a premium of 5,000 rand a month. A couple of months down the line, you have an accident, and you've all in all paid 5,000 rand, or let's say all in all you've paid 15,000 rand towards your in premiums for the car insurance, and the extent of the damages is 16,000 rand. So you've paid 15. Now the insurance company will say the whole thing is covered and they'll pay for the whole thing like that. But in reality, you are only entitled to the premiums which you had paid, because it was haram for you to pay it in the beginning to begin with. Hence, that money essentially is still yours, that 15 grand which you had paid out. So therefore, you are actually required to put by 1,000 rand to make it up for the full your 15 which you paid out to them, and 1,000 extra from your side, making it 16, and you pay off the damages to it. But to say, okay, they're going to pay out 100,000 now, then this is the rest of that is the haram insurance. Yes, now there you get the case where the ulama will now explain the extent of the damages is over 100 and something thousand rand, because you happen to bump into the next man's Lexus, and his one backlight is worth more than your 6 months salary. So you'll never be able to pay him back in that sense. So what happened is you were forced into this insurance policy. So the insurance policy pays out now the full 100,000 rand for his backlight, and boom, the problem has now disappeared. Does that mean it's okay, everything's fine and dandy and the problem is over? No. The ulama explained that in a case like this here, you laid out 15,000 rand in premiums, so that leaves you with 85,000 rand which was not yours to begin with. Now, we're not going to the view of those who are more lenient towards insurance, but you have other ulama will now say essentially 85,000 rand was paid on through haram insurance money. So what you would do in a situation like that is that as time goes on, over the course of years, you'll take a bit of money. Okay, I've got 1,000 rand to spare this month. You take and you give it out to Muslims without the intention of reward, to make up for that 85,000. So now you've given out 1,000, you've got 84. So over the course, it doesn't have to be done in 1 day, 1 year, 1 week, 1 month. It can be taken over time, and eventually you pay back all of that, and you say you make your tawbah that for having gotten involved in this in the first place, and then you are safe عند Allah, inshallah, as a result of it. But again, like I say, now you have the ulama who say that because you weren't the one who had taken out this policy, and it's not your car, essentially it still belongs to the bank, you are buying it essentially from the bank, so therefore it's theirs and they are paying for the thing, so therefore it's okay. Anyway, you have 110 different opinions of people in regards to this here, but what it boils down to is that it is not permissible to take insurance, to be involved in insurance in any way or form, and as far as possible a Muslim should always abstain from it and not take any benefit from it, and like I say, abstain from all such things which are going to put you into a position where you are having insurance forced upon you. And Allah knows best. Okay, now the question which was on WhatsApp sent here, which I don't know if it was for the radio, if it was directly to me, but anyway, the question says, do first cousins come under the category of relations with whom ties of kinship must be upheld? Like, am I sinning if I don't keep in touch with my cousins, the ones that are mahram, of course, like male cousins? Okay, when it comes to the Silatul Arham, upkeeping of family ties, then primarily, obviously, it refers to your direct family, but it also extends to your extended family. So your anyone in the general scheme of things who fall under let's put it this way: when you happen to have a wedding, you happen to have a family gathering, and the people who do happen to come out, they're the ones that you keep ties with. They are your family in the greatest sense of things, and you should upkeep family ties with all of them. Obviously, some people got family on the other side of the world. They've never met them in their entire lives. It's a different story. But when we talk about upkeeping family ties, Silatul Arham, from the word Rahim, from the womb. So those who are from the same womb, basically. We're not talking about your intermarried type people. We're talking about the people who are from the same bloodline. These ones are the ones that you are required to upkeep family ties with, and the closer, the more important. The further away, the less important they become. And Allah knows best. I think that's possibly the last of the questions that we've got for tonight. Let me just make certain here. Okay, that seems to be the last one then. I have not gotten... Somebody's saying more questions added to the thread, so let me just see. No, WhatsApp is now clear. I have no more further questions, so... Okay, so that being that, then it's our last question for tonight. And we will end on this point here, inshallah. Now, the thing is that we are less than a month away from Ramadan, as a result of which we will not be having any more Q&A sessions, nor will we be having any other classes. All Ummah radio classes and shows and stuff are on hold until after Eid, inshallah ta'ala, as is the norm. I always tend to stop normally on the 15th of Sha'ban, which is now anyway in a couple of days. So I tend to stop by that time and then only resume again after Eid. So next time we have a Q&A will probably be sometime during June, July. So throughout that whole period, we won't be having Q&A. However, what I will say is, as you also know, I'm not on the forum as often as I used to be. So therefore, if you do happen to have a question, you can reach me on WhatsApp. That's the place where I'm most commonly on. So if you don't happen to have my WhatsApp number, you can send a message on the forum. You can send me a private message also on the forum, and I will send you my number, inshallah. So if during the course from now till after Eid or whenever you have a question and you want to ask it, then you can just send it to me via WhatsApp, inshaAllah ta'ala. But that being that, we will stop on this point here until next time. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.